All right, so welcome to your ALS bag. We're going to be going through every single item in here, what it does, how it works. All right, so there's a lot, as you can see. So first, on this side, let's just start here because that just looks like one or two less things. So here we have our eye gels. So these are supraglottic devices. They get inserted into the airway down to the larynx where we are able to ventilate people. We're going to leave one to the side. We have NPAs. This is a nasopharyngeal airway. It's placed through the nose. It can be placed into someone who has a gag reflex, as long as we measure it correctly, which is the nose to the tragus. Some tape. These are all the different sizes of eye gels, as you can see, from size 1.5, size 1, all the way to a size 5. Different size, different weight. We then have all of our suction catheters. So this is a Yankauer suction or a hard tip suction. We then have our soft tip suction. So a Yankauer is just a more rigid suction catheter that allows us to suction the airway of a patient. And then you have your soft tip, which is then going to allow us to then suction maybe deeper. So if we want to suction through a endotracheal tube, that's what we're going to use. Depends what you're suctioning and where in the airway you're suctioning will depend on what you're using. A very important point to be made about these types of suctions is that there's a little valve or there's a hole you need to block off with your finger. So when you are suctioning, if you don't block this off with your finger, it will not suction. So, important point. Goes from really small to really big. Then over here we have our commercial tube holders. So this is called a Thomas tube holder, the blue one, and the pink one, kids, adults. This is for tying down tubes and tying down eye gels. They fit the small eye gels, but the big eye gels, they don't fit so well. Then we have the all-important Bougie. As you can see here, we have adult Bougies and pediatric Bougies. This is used for intubation. So this is passed into the trachea, past the vocal cords, and then the tube is then railroaded over that. This is to assist in your first pass success when you're intubating. Now we get to the other side. So that's all the bits and pieces that have been addressed on this side. This side is where we're going to find our laryngoscope blades and handles. So as you can see, we have lots of different types and makes. So this is a Miller blade. See how it's flat? This is a Mac blade. So we'll typically intubate an adult with a size 4 Mac. This is a curved blade. It goes into the right of the patient's mouth, and you then push the tongue to the left, where this straight blade or Miller blade goes straight down the middle of the tongue, and we lift up. There's no going to the side. You get size 0, I think you even get size 0, all the way to a size 5. We don't have any 5s in this bag, and I think smallest one I can see is a 0. Yeah, there we go. So those are your Mac and Millers, and then you get small handles, big handles. The handle doesn't really matter. There are syringes. Syringes are there to inflate the cuffs on the tube. Now we're on to this side, busy side, right? This is our HME filter. That stands for heat moisture exchange. That gets attached onto here. We're going to build a little airway tree. That's that. Then you have your catheter mount, which is what we plug onto all these. So the BVM gets attached here, and then your tube gets attached there. And then we've got all the different size tubes. All right. So on the tube, it'll tell you how big it is. This is a size 9, which is the biggest we carry. That is very big. And all the way to the smallest, look at that, which is a size 4. You do get a size 3.5. So they get really, really small. I might even not grab the smallest one. There we go, 3.5. So that goes from 9 to 3.5, so really, really small. In order, the next thing we have here is a airway roll. So this, I highly recommend it. We put this down next to wherever we're working, and we then make sure that this is fully stocked with everything, because that means that we're going to be able to have everything we need when we need it. In the top here is where we're going to find our capnography. So this is our ETCO2, so we can attach this to our airway tree, which goes over there. We have our McGill forceps. So these are for removing objects in the airway or potentially passing the tube through the trachea, but that's more of an advanced skill. But it can be used to put things into the airway and to take things out. There's also a lube in here. There's these nasal prongs which we spoke about. There's also a colorimetric capnography. So what this means is that kind of like a litmus test, we put it on the top of the tube, and what it does is then it will turn a different color if it detects carbon dioxide, but it's colorimetric, so it only kind of happens once, a little bit less valuable than what we would really like. So when it comes to our catheter mount, what we're wanting is our capnography attached to our filter, which is attached to our catheter mount, and then that is then attached to our airway. So we have our advanced airway, our catheter mount, our filter, and our capnography, and then that is attached to the BVM or the ventilator. So that's that whole build, and I believe that's everything in this bag.